When was the moment you first said to yourself, Messi is the best? I was watching the 2009 Champions League final just now and remembered when I first realized Messi is special. For me, it was the home game in 2010 against Arsenal. It was when he scored those 4 goals is what sealed the deal for me. I was 16 at the time, watching the game with my dad. He said to me, "This is how you play football." And the father and son moment, which probably adds another element to the moment, making it more special. I remember it clearly and I will remember it for a long time. It was that chip shot in particular against Al Nunez is when I felt I was partaking in a special moment. No offense to the wonderful season he had in 2008-09. When Barca won the treble and Messi scored 38, and yeah, back then that was rare. But Cristiano has done something similar in the season before. But the way Barca was dominating games was unheard of at the time. I can't say it was one particular moment. It was the consistency, game after game, and year after year, that made me realize it. When he scored 30 goals in a season, I thought that was great, but a hot streak. Then he scored 40 goals the next season, and always kept up his performance going forth. Well, I started watching football properly only a year ago. A friend showed me just 2 of his goals at first, the one vs Madrid where Busquets had the best assist of all time, and the one vs Bilbao. That was all it took to convince me that Messi was the best player in the world. As for best player of all time, watching him play week in and week out for a year did that. I know it's late, but for me, it didn't really settle, in that I was watching the undisputed greatest player of all time until the end of 2014-15 against Bayern in the CL semis, and in the Copa del Rey final. At that point Boateng was one of my favorite defenders, and to see Messi send him quite literally into the shadow realm was simply unbelievable. Not only that, but he then chipped Neuer like he was a Sunday league keeper filling in for his mates. Follow that up with the mesmerizing goal in the CDR final where he dribbled half the team to score. That's when I knew we would never see anything like this again. I miss those days. I've thought he was the best since 09. It's hard to remember the exact moment. I realized that he is the G.O.A.T in 2012 and was again reminded in 2015. In 2012 he was so clinical it was unbelievable. Nobody thought it was possible to dominate at Europe's top level like that. 91 goals. In 2015 Messi took on a much deeper playmaker role and acted as the backbone of that MSN trio. Watching the telepathic link up between them was my happiest time as a Barca supporter. That's why he is the GOAT. A nice thing about Messi is that I keep having those moments, because every time I decide it, I assume that's the best he's going to be, and then he does something better. I don't even remember the first time. It was like a slow accumulation of understanding that all those he's so great moments were almost always going to be there, every match, every time, regardless of the team he is playing for or against. I think maybe one of the highest single points for me was 3-1 Atletico match in early 2015. He played like a man possessed. We've all seen it when Messi gets in the mood. This is when the pundits start throwing around the term masterclass. There is often something almost passive about his skillful brilliance, like he is playing another match than the other players. It's almost like they aren't there. But in that match he engaged. When he got pushed, he pushed the fuck back. I remember he took a flying leap kicking the ball past Moya, and I think Moya, would have just going into the goal with the ball if he had tried to stop it. Also, seeing him play live was a big moment that made me realize how much difference there was between him and other players. It's such a cliche to say, he's just so different to watch in person. I was prepared for it all be about the crowd or maybe noticing a few things you don't on television. But it was quite different. I saw the match with an old friend, who is a Sociedad and lifelong fan, obviously, but quite jaded. Everything to him was negative or a joke. He even had some rough things to say about Pep. I didn't want him to burst my bubble about my Messi revelation, so I made a joke about it after saying, well, one thing I got out of that was that Messi is very good, but this he was serious about, and he just said, quietly, yes, he is a very special player, this man. Even this cynic who had seen it all, could complain about anyone on the team, was a little bit in awe. It was nice to see. For me there's no when, but years ago I realized that every time I've foreseen a play building up in my mind, Messi would almost always turn that could be a chance into reality, like it was the easiest thing in the world. I know Messi has his own style of team play, not speaking about dribbling, nor passing, but the way he makes the team work, and it is so influential, that Barca's players moves to help Messi with his magic point. Busquets always searches for Messi, and he likes to do the fake forward pass in between defensive midfielders cause Messi is the best false 9 out there, maybe. In history, Jordi Alba is practically used as a tool to Messi's unbelievable crosses/passes. Every time I see Alba's run, I know Messi will find him sometime in the game. It looks easy as hell. Suarez lately functions as a dummy Benzema-esque player to create spaces to Messi. Total chaos near/inside the opposing box. Sure, he still lacks the quality for one-touch passes, but he helps a lot with his movement point and so on. Also, Messi's goals I guess, since 2012, and mainly since the comeback against Milan in the Champions, I've noticed the precision he has to put the ball anywhere he wants in the net. The first goal against Milan, that he was surrounded by 45 players, while having almost no space at all. I guess until 2012, at least for me, Messi still didn't have this super precise and effortless shot, like the one against Real Madrid at the last second in the 3x2 game, with the incredible Sergi Roberto's run. Now he shoots with ease and bang, goal. One thing, like free kick and passes, that evolved during the years, I don't agree with people that says that Messi from 2008 to 2012 was at his best, just because he ran and dribbled a lot. He just evolved accordingly with his age. So now he runs less, but passes and makes goals way more easily. For me it was this one against Zaragoza. It seems to encapsulate so much of his greatness in one play, the tenacity, dribbling, and finishing. It didn't matter that he was fouled 2-3 times before scoring. Not unlike the amazing goal against Athletic in the Copa final a few years back, but by then I already knew he was the GOAT. The 5-2-0 Manita against Real Madrid. Even if he didn't score, he was a false 9 making his teammates play as a 10. He dictated that game and put some spectacular paces to Villa. He ran the show until Ramos stopped him with a disgusting tackle. That moment I said to myself, he is the best I've seen. The only time in which we should be glad for Las. He saved Messi by accident. Also, 1 game suspension for the Sportsman of the Year. After 2-6 game I started thinking that he is the greatest ever. I was 12 at that time, was watching the game with my elder brother who is a Madrid fan. He cried after commentator said even Piqué is getting his name on the score sheet. He felt humiliated, haha. Thank you for watching. Messi really is the greatest of all time in my opinion, the real definition of a GOAT. We are seriously privileged to have been able to watch him play during his career, possibly the greatest player in the history of this beautiful game. I hope you guys enjoy the content. See you next time. This is Soccer TTS. Take care.